let's talk a bit about your tweets, because it comes up a lot. Even today, it came up in anticipation of this. I mean, you do some tweets that seem to be, or at least give support to some who would call others conspiracy theories.
Well, yes, but I mean, honestly, some of these conspiracy theories have turned out to be true.
Which ones?
Well, like the Hunter Biden laptop.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was a pretty big deal. There was Twitter and others engaged in active suppression of information that was relevant to the public. That's a terrible thing that happened. That's election interference.
But how do you make a choice? You don't see. I mean, in terms of when you're going to engage. I mean, for example, even today, Elon, you tweeted this thing about George Soros. Well, I'm looking for it because I want to make sure I quote it properly. But I mean, you know what you wrote. But you basically.
I said it reminds me of Magneto. This is like, calm down, people. This is not like made a federal case out of it.
You also you said he wants to erode the very fabric of civilization, and Soros hates humanity. Like, when you do something like that, do you?
Yeah, I think that's true. That's my opinion.
Okay, but why share it? Why share it? Especially, why share it when people who buy Teslas may not agree with you, advertisers on Twitter may not agree with you? Why not just say, hey, I think this. You can tell me, we can talk about it over there, you can tell your friends, but why share it widely? I mean,
this is freedom of speech. I'm allowed to say what I want.
You absolutely are, but I'm trying to understand why you do, because you have to know it puts you in the middle of the partisan divide in the country. It makes you a lightning rod for criticism. I mean, do you like that? People today saying he's an anti-Semite. I don't think you are.
No, I'm definitely. I'm like a pro-Semite, if anything.
I believe that probably is the case.
Yes.
But why would you even introduce the idea then that would be the case?
I mean, look, we don't want to make this a George Soros interview.
No, God, no. I don't want to at all. But what I'm trying even came up though in the annual meeting. I mean, do your tweets hurt the company? Are there Tesla owners who say, I don't agree with his political position and I know it because he shares so much of it? Or are there advertisers on Twitter that Linda Yaccarino will come and say, you got to stop, man. Or, I can't get these ads because of some of the things you tweet.
I'm reminded of there's a scene in The Princess Bride. Great movie.
Great movie.
Where he confronts the person who killed his father. And he says, offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
Elon Musk went all out recently to address the Tesla stock doing really bad recently. Tesla's stock is taking a nosedive amid a swirl of macroeconomic forces rather than any faltering within the company itself. But before you throw your money into Tesla stocks or make a leap to conclusions, let's delve deeper into what has sparked this financial whirlwind and what Elon Musk said about what is happening to his stock. Welcome back, everyone, to Investocracy.
Tesla down over 11% since the start of the year. Despite the uncertainty ahead, Dan Ives of Wedbush reiterating his overweight rating on the stock. Dan joins us now for more. Dan, welcome to the programme, sir. Lots to get through. That name is up in the pre-market just a little bit, but it's had a struggle recently. What is behind that struggle, Dan?
I mean, look, I think it's really the worries about distraction with Doge, as well as maybe some softer numbers that have come out of China, and as well as Europe, right? So I think there's worries about distraction, the Musk, is there brand deterioration? But look, we strongly disagree. I mean, I believe it's going to be known as the bet for the ages in terms of Musk on Trump. And when it comes to autonomous, that's worth $1 trillion. That continues to be the golden goose. That's what they're focused on. So I think any of this is sort of near-term noise into just what's going to be a massive period of growth for Tesla.
Well, it's not all noise, so let's get to some of the signal. Talk to me about the challenge to autonomous driving, the challenge posed not just from, say, Waymo, but also from BYD. How strong is that challenge?
Look, it's a challenge, but I think the biggest issue is that in the U.S. there's really no federal roadmap. I mean, the whole point here and why I was so bullish in terms of Trump and Musk, ultimately, this is now going to lay out on the federal side a roadmap for autonomous. Now, look, there are challenges. You look at what's happened in China as well. But I think that's something that ultimately Tesla is going to be massively competitive when it comes to everything in China. That's going to be a huge, strong market for them. And there's nothing that makes me view this as a zero-sum game. I mean, we're in the beginning of what's going to really be, trillions of dollars spent.
But let's just say, and this might be a hypothetical and this might be real, Dan, that BYD gets subsidized by the Chinese government in order to make enough inroads that they can offer cheap data and cheap technology that achieves some of what Elon Musk is promising, but a much lower price point. Why wouldn't that cannibalize from his potential demand significantly in one of the biggest markets?
Yeah, look, is that a headwind? Yeah, no doubt. I mean, is there some cannibalization? But I think it just comes down to they produce the best product out there. I mean, when it comes to their cars in terms of Tesla, and it comes to ultimately what they're going to have when it comes to autonomous, that's a brand that's, I think, going to go through all that noise. And I think they're going to continue to ultimately gain share in China. And I think when I look at the U.S., despite some of maybe contained brand issues, when I look at autonomous and robotics, I mean, that's 90% of the story going forward. So any of this near-term worries, I think the bar's going to be a lot worse than a bite in terms of where just this broader innovation's going. I believe the best is ahead for Tesla, not in the rearview mirror.
Despite Elon Musk's bold forecast of over $100 billion in revenue, outpacing analysts' estimates for 2024, Tesla's stock has been sliding downhill, falling approximately 20% year-to-date. The culprit? It's the macroeconomic climate pulling the strings behind the curtain. With the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 showing red across the board, dread of recession looms large thanks to a dismal jobs report. Non-farm payrolls underperformed significantly, missing the 185,000 estimate by a wide margin. But before going on with the video, are you into cryptocurrency? If so, check out our second channel, Investocracy Crypto. We bring you breaking news, expert analysis, and the latest trends in the fast-moving world of digital assets. Whether you're a seasoned crypto investor or just curious about the future of finance, we've got something for you. Click the link in the description to subscribe to Investocracy Crypto now. Don't miss out and stay ahead of the game. Now, let's get back to the video.
Issues is the most interesting way of saying that people don't like Elon Musk. There are a number of people who love him, and there are a number of people who hate him. He's very much in the public sentiment. How much can you dismiss that at a time where you have Oppenheimer analysts coming out, Stifel also saying that, frankly, the negative downturn in consumers' perception of Elon Musk could result in a headwind for sales? Why is that just a contend perception risk?
Well, first of all, the haters always hate, right? So, I mean, they're always going to grab onto something that ultimately will be negative for Tesla. When I look at ultimate numbers, I mean, I think it's contained. And look, will there be some brand deterioration here? There could be some. But the reality is that the reason it's going to be known as the bet for the ages, because Musk having that front row seat in the Trump White House is significant in terms of autonomous, deregulatory environment. And that's the key. So any small brand issues, which I believe are contained, it's still what I view as far and away, and is not even close, the best EV and one of the best really automobiles in the world.
Dan, who's running Tesla?
Look, Musk continues to run. And look, and we've talked about it a lot on the show. I mean, even if you go back a few years ago in terms of everything with X and Twitter and some of the distractions, I actually think this is an engaged Musk behind the scenes in terms of Tesla. There is a much stronger bench today.
Dan, how does he have time for that? I've got to jump in. How does he make the time to do that? That's amazing. Where does that time come from?
Look, well, first off, he definitely has a lot more what I view as a bench at Tesla to run a lot of these products. So maybe a few years ago, he was sort of doing it all, I wouldn't say himself, but I think now there's a lot more activity that goes on without him. That said, most of the innovation that's coming to Tesla over the next 6 to 9 months, there's so much more innovation coming ahead than behind, and Musk is going to be key to driving that. Now, look, with Doge, is that a distraction? Is that going to cause definitely some negative brand issues? Yeah, it could. But the reality is, in terms of the benefits, far outweigh any of the negatives for the broader Tesla story.
To add fuel to the fire, the SOM rule, a potential recession indicator, was triggered. However, Claudia Somm, the rule's creator, remains cautiously optimistic, suggesting that a recession isn't carved in stone just yet. She points to the possibility of reducing interest rates as a lifeline for the economy. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Joining me now is Dan Ives of Wedbush. He's the global head of tech research. Well, Dan, I think I summarized it pretty good, but you think another $1 trillion in market cap from here?
I mean, Kel, I think the golden goose is autonomous. I think that's worth $1 trillion in terms of valuation. The federal roadmap will now start to get paved. And that's ultimately, from a valuation perspective, I think autonomous and robotics is more than the company itself. So I get some of the brand issues and maybe some of the headwinds in Doge and, in terms of everything Musk is doing in the Beltway. But this continues to be the bet for the ages in terms of Musk betting on Trump, and that's going to hugely benefit Tesla. And that's why we think there's golden buying opportunity in terms of this sell-off. So
I'm sure that investors in the stock would agree with you. The ones who have been in this, they're passionate, they're committed. Of course, they think, autonomous is the play here. But I still see a lot of frustration on social media about the performance lately. And even a couple of hours ago, Musk was tweeting about how the Boring Company is building a tunnel in Dubai or something. I mean, he has a lot going on. Would they prefer that his focus is more on Tesla?
Yeah, look, I think a few years ago, that would have been the preference. But I think the reality is, even some of the stuff Seaman talked about, everything we're talking about in terms of AI, having that front row seat at the table in that Trump administration, that's bullish in terms of AI innovation. I think more and more projects, especially that come through and that he's going to drive, I think is going to be very important in the China tariff discussions. And they have a massive innovation line coming out in terms of Optimus, in terms of autonomous, everything we see with Austin in terms of June. So look, haters are going to hate as they always do in Tesla, but I just think...
With Elon Musk's optimistic projection dangling a golden carrot and the potential for interest rate reductions as an economic buoy, Tesla may well rebound with renewed vigor. Current forecasts even hint at promising growth should the economic tide turn favorably. But what do you think? Share your thoughts. Finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.